As we think about Thanksgiving, we tend to thank God for the many good things in our lives. We thank God for our salvation, for the church, for our family and our friends, for our nation, for all the material blessings He has blessed us with. And this is good. This is how it should be. This is appropriate. We should thank God for all of those wonderful things in our lives. But let me challenge you to go a different direction this morning for just a moment. I want to tell you a story about an incredible lady. Her name is Corrie ten Boom. Corrie was a Dutch Christian who during the Second War, along with her family, was hiding Jews who were fleeing from the German persecution of the Holocaust. Unfortunately, they were caught and arrested by the Germans, and eventually Corrie and most of her family were sent themselves to concentration camps. Corrie and her sister Betsy eventually ended up in the Ravensbrück concentration camp. And while there, they had smuggled in a tiny little Bible and they started doing their Bible reading. And pretty soon a few ladies joined them and a few more, and after a while there was a small group of them who were holding Bible studies on a regular basis. Now this obviously was against the rules and they would suffer severe discipline if they were caught. So they hid in the very, very back corner of the barracks, and that's where they held their Bible study. Well, one day they happened upon the verse, 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 18, which says, "Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you." They then began to debate about giving thanks in their current circumstance and situation there in the concentration camp. Betsy insisting that they should thank God for everything, and Corrie saying it's impossible to thank God for our situation, and she lamented all of the circumstances that they were in. They argued back and forth, Betsy insisting, Corrie arguing, and then finally Corrie blurted out, "What about the fleas? They're horrible. I just can't thank God for these flea-infested barracks." And so they argued further, and finally they agreed they would even thank God for the fleas. And so they said their prayers and thanked God. Later on, they were to discover that the reason they were able to have these Bible studies without being interrupted by the guards is that the guards refused to come into the barracks because of the fleas. As it turns out, the fleas were their protection. The fleas were a blessing from God. Let me ask you a question. What fleas do you have in your life? What challenges are you facing? What hardships are you enduring that you just don't understand? Sometimes we just don't know, but we need to remember that God always knows. So I want to encourage you to thank God for the challenges, for the tough times, for the hardships, for the things you don't understand. Yes, even thank God for those fleas in your life. Have a happy Thanksgiving, and Lord willing, I'll see you next week.